Hello and welcome to the Passion Driven Pioneers interview series. I'm your host, John Channon, and today I'm joined by Chris Montana, who is the founder and CEO of Dunord Social Spirits. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, would you like to just get us started with a brief background as to who you are, what you do, and then the business that you're in?
Yeah, brief, not what I'm known for, but yeah. So my background is not particularly linear, although I don't know that many people's are, particularly in this industry. But I've done a number of different things. In one version of my past before being a distiller, I used to work on campaigns, electoral politics. Then I was a congressional staffer for a period of time in DC. And then I went to law school and practiced law as a commercial litigator. And it's while I was doing that I had the idea for and started Denord Social Spirits.
So, what was that spark that caused you to get out of the legal field and want to go into business for yourself and do it in basically craft spirits?
A couple different things. A lot of it just domestic. My oldest son is about as old as the distillery is, and I didn't see being present as a father working as an attorney. Right, the future there seemed like it was, it's a pie eating contest, and all you get is more pie. And I don't care who you are, if you're not present, you can't be that great of a dad. And so I didn't want to be that. And so I wanted to find something where I'd have a little more time. Starting your own business does not give you more time, but it gives you more control over it. And so that was something I was interested in. On the side of that, though, I was already a booze nerd. And most of that nerdery was focused on beer at the time, like when I was first looking into things. But it wasn't the right time for beer. There's a number of reasons for it. There were a lot of places opening up, and they were making the types of beers that I didn't really like. And a buddy of mine, a law school buddy, had suggested, well, what about a distillery? Which I already was doing illegally in my garage. And so I figured I might as well just turn that into a real career.
Well, that's pretty cool. So, talk to us about those first couple of years. Obviously, I don't know if your legal skill set helped you out, your political skill set helped you out, but what were some of the skills you brought into this, and then what were some of the things you really needed to learn in the first couple of years?
Well, I think one of the best things I had going for me, and also one of the worst things I had going for me, was a healthy dose of arrogance. When I started the business, and at the beginning, it's not just me; it's my wife and I. But when we started, we didn't have nearly enough money, and everybody said that. And in my head, I thought, well, that may be true for you, but it's not true for me because I work harder than you, and so I will figure out a way to make this happen. And I meet a lot of entrepreneurs who kind of have that same basic arrogance of, yeah, the rules don't apply to me, and they do apply to you. And there were a lot of sacrifices in those first couple of years because of that. One of the things I told my wife is like, I'm going to need 5 hard years. Well, it turned into more like 12, 13 to get things off the ground and running. I don't know that the legal background helped in the production of spirits so much. One thing it did help, though, is that I think people took you a little bit more seriously when I walked through the door and, was talking about the products that we were trying to sell. Not everyone really gave me much, didn't really give me much time of day, but they find out, oh, he's an attorney. Well, maybe that means he's actually serious about this and isn't just trying to push out some garbage product. And it wasn't, right. It was a passion project of mine. And I've felt then and feel now very strongly about whatever being in that bottle being a representation of me and the team. And we want it to be the best that it possibly can be. But in those first couple of years, just getting doors open was tough.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned, you wanted to get into this a little bit because you want to be in charge of your own schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about what being in charge of your own schedule means, but also what this meant starting up a business from kind of a work-life balance standpoint.
Well, from a work-life balance standpoint, there was none.
All
Uh,
right.
to, to, I mean, my schedule was 6 days in the distillery, and then one night I would go home. right? And the other nights I would sleep at the distillery, and I would wake up and I would go work as an attorney, and then I go from the law office to the distillery, take my jacket off, put the coveralls on, and start grinding corn and making booze. So that is burning it at both ends. And so, yeah, there was no balance. We didn't have any money. I couldn't pay any other people. I was the janitor. I was, the distiller. I was, doing marketing. I was doing sales. I was absolutely everything. And, uh, so yes, I got to choose my schedule, uh, but it's manufacturing.
Hmm.
So if you're not there's no substitute for just getting the work done. You got to be in there. You got to get your hands dirty, and you can't be kind of a prince about it. So in the early years, it was my choice to work that hard, certainly, but it wasn't really. I didn't have a ton of flexibility. Later, I would get that flexibility, and later I would be able to say, "You want to know what? From the hours of 5 to 7, I'm going to go home because that's my kids." Awake and I can have dinner and I could start to have some of that work-life balance come in. But being undercapitalized from the start meant that I didn't really have that much control.
And what's it like now? So talk to us about what that balance is like now that
It's
you're,
significantly better,
yeah.
and a lot of things have changed. But as the team has grown, and we're still a small team, right? We're a team of 6, but as the team has grown, and I brought in other people who are smarter than me and better than I was at doing the things that I was doing, it's allowed me to take significant steps back. And from just a stress and pressure standpoint, maybe not the pressure standpoint, but some of the stress of just I've got to be the guy to do everything. Um, Now that I don't believe that, and now that I know that it's actually okay to let go of some things, um, that work-life balance is significantly better. I mean, I get to coach my kids' flag football team, and get out and play in a men's rugby team, like all those kind of outside of work things that you need to do that actually are food for your soul.
Oh, that's great. So you're in a fairly competitive space. What are some of the things that you're doing or your business is doing to remain innovative in that space?
Well, it's interesting you say that because there's two ways I think that maybe in our space and probably in any space that people look at that. And one is that you always have to be doing something new, and you always have to be bringing something new out. Like, what's the new variation of this, that, and the other? We're in the liquor business, and all you have to do is go to any bottle shop, liquor store, or bar and look at the shelves, and you'll see that there are seemingly infinite variations on a theme, right? If you're a vodka producer, then you've got 30 different flavors of vodka. And I've never been interested in doing that. That seems like, you're constantly chasing in that situation. And so that's not where, we only make what we like. And the things that we don't like or the things that we aren't good at making, we leave to other people. There's lots of other people out there who can do that. And so I'm not trying to have us crank out new SKUs every year. The innovation for me is less about the product in the bottle. I want that to be quality and the best representation, right? And I can't say that if I'm making 30 different products, every year.
Hmm.
The innovation for me is about how the business shows up for itself, so inward looking towards the employees and the team that I get to work with, and then also outwardly to the community. And I don't think that, and this is true, I think, for a liquor business, but I also believe it's true for any other business. I don't think that a business can really survive today, and this has probably always been true, without being a little bit more than just a business. There needs to be a culture around it. There needs to be something else that makes people choose you because there are so many other options. Most of the thing we sell the most of is vodka. There are hundreds of vodkas that are easily accessible. And almost all of those companies have more money than ours and can do more marketing and can put ads in your face and go on TV. We can't do any of that. So there has to be another reason. And that is about connection to real people and becoming culturally relevant and a part of people's lives. That's extremely difficult and time consuming. But that's what our business is about. It's about connecting people. That's why it's Do Nord Social Spirits. It's not just about producing alcohol for people to become intoxicated. That may happen, but it's really about bringing people together and finding ways that we can be a catalyst to, in some cases, strange bedfellows being brought together.
So let's talk a little bit about. I know you found have your own foundation that came about a little bit later in the business process,
Mhm.
and not that your mission really shifted as a business, but it kind of refined a little bit, maybe I should say. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how that came to be and what that means to the business as well?
Yeah, well, you nailed it. It didn't shift it; it refined it. Up until 2020, we were the business is pretty inseparable from just my personality. And after 2020, and after pandemic and murder of George Floyd, we really had to take a step back and think about who we were and how we were showing up in the community and whether or not we were the positive influence that we thought that we were. And I think that, at least for me, said, we're the saying is talk is cheapest when the story's good. And we had a good story, and we were certainly, telling ourselves enough to make us feel like we were good. But whether or not we were actually a positive influence in our community, which we carry a burden to be, we sell alcohol. Alcohol is, fun, but it also destroys lives. And so we have a unique responsibility to be a positive influence. And so we doubled down on that. We started the Du Nord Foundation, which has gone through a number of different iterations. The current version of it, now that we're past pandemic and past kind of the immediate destruction after George Floyd was murdered, is just about trying to create opportunities for other people so that way their path might be a little bit easier than mine. So the next entrepreneur who looks like me can get up and do what they want to do and chase their dream, but not be behind the eight ball, not working, sleeping at their job, 6 out of 7 nights and all of that. Because I don't think that that's reasonable. So that's what we work on now. And that's how we want to show up in the community to give other people the opportunity to be independent. That's why we say follow your own North Star. We don't really want people to be like us. We just celebrate people and we want them to be able to be their authentic selves. But you can't do that when you're terrified about your paycheck and when you don't control your own destiny.
That's a great story, and I appreciate you sharing that too. And that's kind of like we said, kind of refined the mission of the company a little bit and gave you some clarity too. Um,
Mhm.
how about future plans and goals for your business? Would you offer us a little glimpse into that?
Well, frankly, our industry has a lot of headwinds right now, and I've watched a number of friends go out of business, and attitudes are changing, consumption habits are changing, and we all just need to survive that. And so that's where our head is. My primary goal. I mean, I obviously want to grow the business, but we always want to grow the business in the right way. And so we want to continue to tell our story and meet people. And the more we do that, the more successful we are. We are in more than a dozen markets, but we only focus on a few because like I said, we have a small team. We continue to have a fantastic partnership with Delta Airlines, and that puts our product in front of a lot of people who wonder who the heck is this guy and what do they do? And so those are all opportunities for us to grow the brand by telling them our quality story, telling them that we win, best in class for vodka at American Craft Spirits Association and other, competitions like that to tell that brand story. So I don't, as I said before, it's not going to be, the future is not going to be in raspberry or, birthday cake vodka, right? It's going to be in us doubling down on what we do well on the product side and continuing to tell that story.
Yeah, birthday cake vodka sounds a little gross
Yeah,
to me.
well, to each their own, right? If
Yeah.
birthday cake vodka is what you want, then rock on. There are people who will make it for you, but you don't need it from me.
No. All right. Well, listen, Chris, so knowing that this show is really targeted towards people that are either starting up a business or maybe in their first couple of years of business, do you have any final thoughts or words of advice you'd like to share with our audience today?
Um, well, one, I mean, there's always the cautionary tale. When people come to me and they're talking about starting up distilleries, I always, caution them because with some industries, there's kind of a sexiness that surrounds it, but it's also a grind. It is real work. But I don't want to chase people off. I think that starting a business is a wonderful thing. And I think the only difference between the people who do start businesses and the people who don't is just that the people who do start businesses just did it, right? It's not that there is a gene or that they are somehow special. I think it's a lot of pretty regular people, but they jumped off the cliff. And I encourage people to make that jump. The worst case scenario is that it might not work out for you financially, but the best case scenario is that you can get the kind of independence that for me at least, allows me to actually be happy and be the dad that I want to be and be present. So I I encourage it. Right? There's always going to be a way, and you know, for all the people who are going to tell you, there may be some adjustments you need to make on your business plan. You may need to do this a little. Take all that advice, but if you have the passion for it, you have everything you need to start. You just got to do it.
That's great. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time today, Chris.
Hey, thank you. This was fun.
Yeah, it was great meeting you, learning more about your entrepreneurial journey. And to everyone watching, I look forward to seeing you in our next episode.